Oh, what is the upskis, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GXGamerCast. We're on episode 102 of my little gaming show where once a week I just has to talk about video games, old video games, new video games, games that I should be playing but aren't playing. A little teaser for what we're talking about today. Video games, it doesn't matter. We're talking video games, but specifically we are talking about everybody's favorite thing, the dreaded backlog. A whole bunch of games that I'm going to spend talking about instead of playing. I want to play these games, but rather I've tried them in the past and it just didn't hit and I haven't revisited them. Games that I've been recommended numerous times that, again, just haven't gotten to them. That is... the good problem that we have as gamers right now, there's just so many freaking video games, there's just no way that we can all play every game out there, but I'm doing my best, and I'm gonna let you know a handful of the games that I would like to play, but haven't played them yet, and hey, feel free, throw them at me. What are the top games on your backlog that you want to play, but just haven't had the time yet? Let me know, throw them out there. And before we get into the backlog talk, let's talk about what I've been up to over the last week or so. As I always encourage you, the viewer, the listener, let me know what you've been up to over the last week or so. I'm gonna shout out the homie Jesse right now. He let me know that he started playing Pokemon Soul Silver. I'm not going to tell you on what, but brother, you're playing some old school Pokemon. My personal favorite Pokemon games, the Gold Silver ones. And yeah, just listening to him going into those games, be like, damn, this is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. It's like, yeah, bro, Pokemon games, they can be, generally 30, 35 hours or 3,000 hours. It depends if you want to catch them all or if you get into the online or anything like that. But fuck yeah, man. Playing some old school Pokemon, that's always awesome. Now, in terms of what I've been doing, still watching a lot of television this week. Lots of TV shows. Been trying to catch up on some stuff. So, my wife and I finished off the Challenge Season 39. It was actually a pretty damn good season overall. It was all about crowning a new champion. They didn't have anybody playing in this season that has won a championship before. They may have competed for it, but generally it's a lot of rookies, maybe 1-2 seasons under their belt. And yeah, again, always lots of drama. It is an MTV show. I know that might scare some people away because, I don't know, Teen Moms and Jersey Shore and stuff like that. I never watched that stuff, but MTV back in my day, Jackass and Viva La Bam and Wild Boys, all that shit. Now, The Challenge is nothing like those shows anyway, but hey, The Challenge is a highly entertaining, just throw it on, turn your brain off, just dive into the drama, and yeah, it's one of those, I don't know, I'm not going to call it garbage because it isn't garbage, but it's just a reality TV show. It is what it is, but it's highly enjoyable for my wife and I to watch together, and bam, another season down. They're just so much longer than a Survivor season. It's about double the length. They're like 20 episodes. They're huge, and each one is about an hour long. So we're deciding to take a small break in between the challenge, and we dived into The Boys. Season 4, we just started it last night, so only 2 episodes in so far, and it's The Boys. We're back on track after Season 3, so I'm not going to say a lot, because a lot of people out there maybe haven't watched The Boys yet, but for me, I'm into The Boys Season 4. So far, so good. Really enjoying it. Also they announced a prequel series for The Boys has been announced or ordered from Amazon. So another series, another fucking story for The Boys, which is fine with me. I liked Gen V, their like kind of other side show. That was great. They had an animated show which had 1 season. I think it was just 1 and done, but that was also awesome. So hey, I'm a little bit nervous about oversaturation, which generally always happens with something that's popular. We've seen it with zombies, with Marvel, and the superhero stuff. So just pace yourself. There's no rush to get it out. constantly all the time. But hey, I am excited about it. Let me know. Are you watching The Boys? Are you excited for this new prequel show? My wife loves prequel stuff, so yeah, she's excited. Me, I'm fine with a good origin story prequel, whatever, that's fine. It's not my favorite thing, but yeah, I'm cool with it. In terms of the other show that I'm watching by myself, I am watching The Bear. I finally got into season 3. Goddamn. Oh, this show is gonna give me a fucking aneurysm, man. I've talked about The Bear before. I love this show, and I love the way that they are able to display the pressure, and even on, like, I worked in a simple pizza shop, not a big deal, and they're working in, like, trying to get a Michelin star. So the pressure obviously is substantially higher, but just the way that they capture that pressure and the frustration and the mounting and the tension between this very dramatic family and it's incredible. I'm only 3 episodes in, but the episode 3 called Doors was just, by the end of that episode, my heart, I was like, holy shit, dude, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Like, you just feel like you're in that kitchen. You can feel the pressure building on the characters, and you feel like you're gonna explode because they're gonna explode. Acting's amazing. The first episode was, like, very interesting. I very minimal talking. It was a lot of just atmosphere and the character just kind of absorbing the culture and ideas and just kind of getting a vibe of what that side of chefs deal with in cooking and that side of creativity, and how just, it's incredible, man. It is an absolutely sensational show. If you've ever worked in any form of food service of the most utmost highest of recommendations, it's a highly, highly recommended show in general. It is spectacular. I love this show and highly enjoying it. So yeah, The Bear, you got to get in on that show. It's excellent. I'm watching it on Disney Plus. Now, no movies. I've noticed. I'm not gonna say it's because the last movie I watched was Godzilla, the 2014 one. And yeah, I just haven't watched the movie ever since. It's not that movie was so bad it killed it did kind of put a stop to my momentum. I was, like, crushing movies pretty consistently, doing well, and yeah, that one just kind of like, I was like, ooh, that was just kind of very mediocre, and it did take a bite out of me. I was like, I don't really want to have to go through that again. There was a movie that I tried to start, and I was just like, it's too long, and I wasn't feeling it early, and I was like, nah, I don't even remember the name of it anymore, but it is what it is. I'm just not into movies right now. I'm just into TV shows, so that is what it is. But hey, if you want to throw a good movie recommendation out there, just in the break room at work, Deadpool 1 and 2 was playing throughout the night, so I got a few good chunks of some Deadpool, and I was like, damn, these are fantastic movies. I love Deadpool 1. 2 was good, but Deadpool 1 was like, oh, damn, that was fantastic. And the new Marvel, or the new Deadpool with Wolverine, that looks so good, man. I'm very excited to eventually watch that at some point. I'm not going to go out to the theaters to see that one, I don't think, but it looks really good, and that would be great. So if you went out to see it, let me know. Did you enjoy that movie? Let's talk about some video games that I've been playing this week. So the big one for me right now, it has completely taken me over, is Metal Gear Solid 5. It's fully hooked me this time. I don't even, I want to slap myself for whatever the heck was going on back in the day, how I lost interest in this game. I was all in, and then I don't know what happened. I probably got onto another game or something, spent too long of a time away from it, and then was unfamiliar with what I was doing, and then just lost interest. And yeah, dude, not this time. I am loving Metal Gear Solid 5. Absolutely going to be doing an episode on Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm having so much fun right now, and yeah, can't wait to gush about that game. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, but putting a lot of time into Metal Gear Solid 5, it is still a stupid fun game. It's one of those games that always comes up in conversations on gaming podcasts that I listen to. They'll just a little nugget, just a little seed planted, the gameplay of Metal Gear Solid 5 was so amazing, so fun. I'm like, I was like, I know, I need to get back to that, and it was like The Witcher 3 for me until I finally beat that, and then it moved to Metal Gear Solid 5, which also is going to go into the theming of this episode. Once I get through Metal Gear Solid 5, this would have been like number friggin' like 1 on my backlog, but I'm going to take that off, and now another game will rise and be like, I'm your new devilish backlog game that is just going to haunt you, and you're always going to think about me until you play me and beat me, or whatever you have to do. But Metal Gear Solid 5, oh my goodness, so much fun. And if you haven't played it, you can get it so cheap. It's so insanely inexpensive to get it on sale. I think I've seen it for like $5, $6 or something, so oh my goodness, you haven't played it? Get your ass in there. Oh my. So, playing a lot of that. Also playing some Sprout Valley, still crushing that game. It's another one that's kind of got its hooks into me. I definitely am like craving it. I'm like, oh, I can do a little farming right now. And yeah, I'm building up my resources and just doing the grind or whatever it is. I'm just collecting these resources to put them in a box to build this freaking special machine that I'm trying to build. And yeah, it's just that farming Harvest Moony freaking cycle where it's just get up, do your farming chores, and collect some resources, talk to the homie, and yeah, it's simple. It's not as good. It's definitely not on the level of Stardew Valley. Or I'll shout out another guy, homie from work. He just started playing Stardew Valley for the first time, and I was like, oh, I was so happy to hear that. I was like, oh, bro, how you loving it? He's like, bro, I put in like 18 hours already. I'm like, yeah, it's so addicting, right? But I did shout, I was like, yo, if you want, once you're done with Stardew, there's Sprout Valley for you. I know it's not as good, but if you want something else, I will recommend Sprout Valley for the $3 that I paid for it. Absolutely having a great time. And to finish it off, my wife and I played some Overcooked 2. Not Overcooked 2, my bad, not that one. We're going to get there at some point, but Moving Out 2, my apologies. Still playing through that one. It is substantially bigger than Moving Out 1, which, it should be. It's the sequel. But yeah, there's a lot more levels and things to do in this one, so we're pretty content. I feel like we're going to be playing this one for quite a few weekends more because there's quite a lot. There's still a lot more to do, and yeah, it's still pretty damn good indeed. And that is everything that I've been up to over the last week or so. Let me know what you have been up to, and I'll just to put a pin in last week's episode, which was my Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree review. No, I still have not beaten the final boss at this point. I haven't given up, but I'm so engrossed in Metal Gear Solid 5 now that I've pretty much conceded defeat. Talking to people at work, I'm like, yeah, I can't beat it, and telling them my situation, and it's just like, I just don't know if I'm going to go back and do a grind on that to keep having more successful attempts. We'll see. I might have to just come up with a different strategy so I can fight it more consistently, but regardless, that is what it is. I have not played any Elden Ring this week because I've just been all Metal Gear Solid 5-ing it up. It's been super fun. So, all right, no more rambling. Let's talk about some games that I should be playing right now, but they're part of my backlog. So, yeah. Well, I guess I'll just start with the music that just played was for Mega Man X, which, I mean, the whole entirety of Mega Man can technically be this section because I have tried a few times to play Mega Man. The original Mega Mans, I skipped the first one because that's generally recommended and it went straight to 2. I suck at platformers. If you've listened to this podcast, you know that. But yeah, I was terrible at it. It's a very hard video game, and I couldn't do it. So I jumped off of that, and I own the Mega Man Anniversary Collection on PS2. It's very easy to play the Mega Man games. So I don't have any excuses there other than I'm just terrible at them. And they're very difficult, and I've just never been comfortable with Mega Man games because I'm bad at them. I'm bad. So then I heard I've known about Mega Man X. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the Super Nintendo versions of Mega Man, and I've heard some people will argue that they're the better ones. I, again, haven't played them. I have the Mega Man X collection or whatever on my Switch, and I did actually start Mega Man. I, like, opened it up, started the first level just to see, just to get a feel for it, and I was like, all right, I'm just not in the mood for this right now. And that's where I stand right now with Mega Man and Mega Man X and any and all Mega Man. The odd thing is with Mega Man, I have always been extremely interested in Mega Man. I always thought the character of Mega Man was fucking cool as shit. I remember at the Toys R Us when I was a kid in the gaming section, and I know these aren't the good games or whatever, but the PS1 Mega Man games with, like, jeez, and again, I don't know the characters very well, but X or whatever, the dude with the sword, I just thought the characters looked so cool, and I never did get any of those games as a kid, but Mega Man's always been in my mind, and I'm like, damn, that dude is cool, man, and I just, you know, being a gaming nerd and watching so much gaming content on YouTube and etc., I hear so many stories, and so many people have grown up with Mega Man and love Mega Man to death, especially the Prime X, the Mega Man X games, and the earlier and newer, I guess, Mega Man games. But regardless, yeah, I have not played the Mega Man or Mega Man X games, but I fully intend to. I hope to get into Mega Man X this year. Like I said, I sniffed it, just haven't, you know, scratched and sniffed it, I guess, if that makes any sense at all. So there we go, Mega Man X. So with this list, just a little throwing it out there, it's a mixture of, like, everything. It's not generally a list in order of most wanting to play. It's just a mix of old and new and a little bit of in the middle. So let's go for somewhere in the middle with Grand Theft Auto Vice City. Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of the PS2 ones. Okay, so I've played Vice City, obviously. I went to a friend's house and we played Grand Theft Auto like most kids did. We would just screw around, crashing cars, running people over, shooting, getting in trouble with the cops. I never played a story mission in Vice City. All I did was just free roam and have a lot of fun. I own a copy of Vice City. It's on my shelf. I can actually have new remastered versions, though they are as far, I don't know if they're any good anymore, if they've improved them, but yeah, there's lots of versions of Vice City for myself to play. I just haven't gotten there. I do have an itch to play a Grand Theft Auto with the whole Grand Theft Auto 6 announcement, and, you know, it's getting close. We're almost gonna get a Grand Theft Auto 6. It's like a year or something away at this point. So yeah, I have a little bit of an itch, and I've definitely I need to do a little more research on that trilogy fucking upgraded remaster that they released in just god-awful state. I'm going to have to look into and see if they've improved those and see if the Vice City version of that is the way to go. Or just play it, hook up the PS2 and play it OG if that's the way. I have access to it, so I can do it that way as well. But another one where with the PS2 crowd, it's generally down to I like Vice City the most or I like San Andreas. Me, I'm a San Andreas guy. That's the one I owned. That's the big new open world 3D Grand Theft Auto. That's the first one I played, and it's always just gonna be my baby. That's just the way it is. Even if I play Vice City today and I'm like, oh, this was better, I would still just, it's San Andreas. That's my boo, that's my baby. But I really want to experience Vice City. I want to experience that setting. That's the one that's like, I love that 80s setting. I want the music and all of that jazz. So yeah, absolutely intend to play Vice City at some point. Don't really think I'd be getting into it this year or anything, but hey, who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? All right, let's go over here. Let's go to one of the maybe a newer-ish game. Well, not that new, but let's go with Dark Souls 2. I think this is the only one now in the FromSoft catalog, like in the Souls series anyway, that I haven't played. Yes, I'm looking back. Yeah, so Dark Souls 2 is the only one. I've skipped it because I have seen so many videos of. Well, I haven't watched the ones. You see them on YouTube, like 3-hour-long videos explaining why Dark Souls 2 is the worst, and 3-hour videos of why Dark Souls 2 is the best. And it's like, What the fuck? So, me as a seasoned Souls player at this point, I'm very aware of what's wrong with Dark Souls 2. I know they have some very wonky mechanics that are not explained whatsoever throughout the game that can ruin your game. They have some awful boss fights, but they have some really good boss fights. It's also oddly the highest rated Dark Souls game outside of Elden Ring on Metacritic. So, like, it's one that I think the reviewers played a little bit at the didn't go all the way through it. I don't really know, but it is what it is. It's the highest rated one by critics, but the lowest rated one by the fans. So there is definitely something going on with that one, and there's a huge story behind Dark Souls 2 and the development and who was involved and stuff like that. Maybe I'll just save that story for when I inevitably play Dark Souls 2. I own it, and I just honestly there's always just been another Souls game or another FromSoft game that I haven't played. And now I've done them all. There's no longer the Sekiro wall that is like, oh, no, I should play Sekiro first, but I played that now. So now it's literally just Dark Souls 2. And yeah, with my bar being set fairly low, I think I'm going to have a good time with Dark Souls 2, and I'm aware of the problems. I know the hitboxes are fucky, and some of the running back to some of the bosses is fucking bullshit, but hey, it's still a Dark Souls game. It's a FromSoft game, so it's going to be quality, but I want to experience it and see for myself. I want my own judgment, and that's all I want. I need to experience for myself, and one day I frickin' will. Alright, let's talk Final Fantasy. There's a ton of Final Fantasies that I have not played. Now, admittedly, I am not all that interested in the Final Fantasies 1 to 5. They're not like my highest. They're just not the highest ones on my tier list. It's pretty much the PS1 and beyond that I'm more interested in, and then it's like 1 to 5. I did 6. I played the original Final Fantasy. It's one of my earliest memories as a child, playing Final Fantasy 1 on the Nintendo and having absolutely no idea what to frickin' do. Anyway, the one that is number 1 on my backlog for Final Fantasy games right now is Final Fantasy 8. The middle of the PS1 trilogy Final Fantasy games, and maybe the Dark Sheep of the franchise. I've never played it. The only experience... Actually, I have a few weird experiences with Final Fantasy. They're not weird at all, actually. But I've had experiences with Final Fantasy 8 other than playing it. So, another Toys R Us story. Toys R Us, shout out. They had some great toys. They were a toy store, but they also had some, like, cool-ass toys you would not find anywhere else. Like these Final Fantasy 8 toys that I had. I had a whole bunch of these. I had Squall, I had all the dudes, and my sister had all the females, and we never played the game. We just thought they were so cool. I was so, like, over the moon with the gunblade. I thought it was the coolest freaking thing. I know people hate it, but I, as a 8-year-old kid, was like, this is sick. This is so cool. I loved it. I thought the characters were so cool, and I just loved playing with the toys. But the only experience with the actual video game is watching my cousins play it. And yeah, I think they liked it a lot from that one slight foggy memory that I have in my brain of it. But yeah, I have not experienced Final Fantasy VIII, and I know it's, a lot of people have a lot of problems with this game, but they're absolutely the defenders of Final Fantasy VIII. So yeah, I absolutely have heard both sides of the story. I know there's some gameplay mechanics that are, like, questionable. Some of them are really, really cool. There's definitely some problems with the story that I'm aware of. Again, story isn't the biggest deal for me. And I know the characters as well aren't necessarily the most favorite in people's minds. But hey, I just want to experience it. I want to know for myself, and I have it on my Switch. It's just I wanted to do 9, and then I went back to do 7, and once that itch is coming, which it will come at some point, where I just want to play a Final Fantasy game on the Switch, and no better way to play Final Fantasy than on the Switch. These new upgraded versions where you can do everything faster. You can blast through a PS1 Final Fantasy game on Switch in half the time it would take normally. So it's a fantastic way to experience them. And yeah, I fully intend to get into Final Fantasy VIII. Maybe I'll squeeze it in this year, but just don't know about that one just yet. All right, let's go for a couple of indie games that I've just always heard about them. I own them. They're super cheap, and they're not even long games. I don't know why I haven't played them yet as a PlayStation guy, and that is Flower and Journey. Haven't played either of them. So Flower was an older PS3 game. That was pretty early in the indie days, and it was a very basic, like, pretty game, and me at the time was just, like, not interested in indie games at all, really. Even with the scores being good for Flower, I looked at it, and I'm like, alright, you're just kind of flowers, flower petals, and you're floating through wind and shit. I'm like, alright, cool, it's artistic, it's nice. I kind of got what it was through reviews and shit. I'm just like, alright, not interested. And yeah, like PlayStation would give it away for free, and like I own it, and same with Journey. Journey I have way more interest in because it seems like there's more meat on the bone to Journey than there is the Flower. Flower, I don't think there's any story to it, correct me if I'm wrong, but with Journey, I think there is an actual story, and it looks beautiful. It's just another one of those short kind of story-based indie games that I just haven't really put a rush on it because I look at Journey as like, I can play that any year, and I think it's going to hold up as an experience, and whatever that game is going to give me, I think it's going to hold up 5-10 years away from now. So again, clearly not in like a hurry to play, especially Flower, but Journey, like I don't even know if I'll ever play Flower. I have no idea. If it is actually like something I can get through in an hour, then yeah, maybe. But Journey I definitely have a lot more interest in. But yeah, a little bit weird that I haven't played them. I see them in my library all the time, and I'm just like, huh. I even made just a little tip out there for y'all. If you have owned a PlayStation for a while and your library is getting a little bit crazy, you know, I think I have like over 500 games in my PlayStation library, so sometimes it can get a little hectic going through all the games and stuff. So I've made a dedicated backlog. Like, you can make like a playlist, a grouping of games or whatever, and I just kind of put in the ones that are the most important. Like, these are the ones I need to play before any of these other freaking 400 games that I have in here. And it's actually helped out a lot. Whenever I'm just like, what should I play next? When I'm starting to think that way, I look at that list of games. I'm like, okay. And you just look at it until you go, ooh. Once you get that ooh, you're like, okay, I'm craving that. So, okay, good. So that's kind of how my process has been working lately. It's been doing pretty well for me. Okay, let's go back to old stuff. So, Legend of Zelda. There's a lot of games in the Legend of Zelda series that I haven't played. A lot of them handheld. Like, I don't think I played any of the handheld. I owned Oracle of Seasons, I think, as a kid, but I didn't know what the heck I was doing. No clue. So, haven't really played any of the handheld ones. So, I mean, technically, any of the handheld Legend of Zelda games could be this, but actually the one I'm putting here is Majora's Mask, which has, again, a story behind it. I played Majora's Mask, and I was doing the full 100%, and I was episode by episode guide with Nintendo Capri Sun. If anyone still watches that guy, he's still active on YouTube, but he's like one of the OG Let's Players on YouTube, and he was my guy back then, like, especially for Nintendo games, because he was just a Nintendo dude, and he knew how to get everything, he knew the games back and front, and he was entertaining. So I watched him, and I was doing the Majora's Mask, and we're going through. I was about halfway through the game, and I needed a guide for it because Majora's Mask, like a blind play, is very, very tough. Like, that game is very difficult to figure out on your own with the whole time system and all these side quests that are happening during specific times of the day. Very, very confusing. And yeah, so I was, fully engrossed. Just this is awesome. I'm loving this. And then his channel got shut down. I believe it got hacked, and there was like a whole fucking situation where like one of my favorite, if not my favorite YouTuber at the time just got wiped out, just gone. And I was like, what the fuck? So like, instantly I was just like, well, I can't play Majora's Mask now. Like, I am distraught. My guy is gone, and he's distraught, and yeah, it just kind of ruined everything for Majora's Mask for me, and I have not gone back to revisit that game ever since. And that was like 2008 2008, like 2009, or maybe even 2007. This is like early YouTube days, like long time ago, bro. So yeah, I have not. It's been a long time since, and there's been the remaster on the 3DS, which I had immense interest in. I just continued to wait for a sale on that game and waited and waited and waited. And yeah, now I just don't see it anymore and I don't really think about it. And yeah, now it's on the Nintendo Switch Online. You can play it on the N64 expansion. I'm like, oh yeah. But then I get reminded of how confusing the game was. I'm like, oh, I might need a guide for that. And if I need a guide for a game, that really pushes it down. Like, I gotta be in a fucking type of mood to want to do that. Like, you know, I don't even know, man. Like, I don't think it would be that bad. Maybe I can go through it now. It was so long ago. I am much better at video games now. But again, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, I have not beaten Majora's Mask. I have so many memories. I watched my uncle beat it. It was awesome. I was like, oh, that final fight was so cool. And the final cutscene and everything. And there's a lot of people that fucking hate Majora's Mask. And there's a lot of people that love it. It kind of seems like that's almost a little bit of a theme of this list, is these kind of like, love them or hate them games. I'm like, I like to take a gamble on those games, of course, every once in a while, because like, it could become one of those, that love game, or it could make a great episode if it becomes a hate game. Like, I get it, I get the hate. So I don't know, we're gonna have to wait and see. For the most part, I remember highly enjoying Majora's Mask. I thought it was awesome. I don't think I was liking it more than Ocarina of Time, but yeah, still have not actually beaten Majora's Mask, and I really, really want to. Let's go back to the PS2, they originated on the PS2, but there's a lot going on, and we'll go with the whole entire series, because I haven't played any of them, because I'm way too chicken of the Silent Hill series. So the homie Josh from the Optional Boss podcast has been recommending me to play the Silent Hill games, like, highly. He just recently got into them like a year or two ago and has been addicted ever since. And yes, and with the Silent Hill 2 remaster coming out and that being like looking pretty questionable, maybe I do have to go back and try and play the PS2 versions of these games, because it's starting to look like that still may be the best version, which is incredibly sad to say, because there was a failed, I think, PS3 HD remaster that was no good, and yes, the one that the fucking Resident Evil remaster versions of Silent Hill 2 is coming out. And yeah, it's not wowing people at all. Like, there's a lot of like, ooh, this game doesn't look very good at all. So yeah, pretty nervous about that one. I definitely have my eyes on it. Like, we'll see what happens when it comes out. If it's great, awesome. But yeah, I definitely would like to. I don't know about Silent Hill 1, just because like, it's really, really old, and that one I do have memories of as a kid. Again, my cousins, who were great at video games and apparently had no fear. Like, I had tons of fear as a child, but watching them play Silent Hill 1 on the PlayStation 1 was horrifying to me. I was like, how are you guys so calm? Like, they're just running through this fog, you can't see anything, and then out of nowhere, this like fucking winged beast just jumps at them. I'm gone. I'm outside, I'm running down the street, screaming and yelling, and they're just like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? I'm like, what the hell's wrong with you? How does that not scare the hell out of you? So yeah, I've always been scared of Silent Hill 2, or all the Silent Hill games. I know a lot about Silent Hill 2. I've seen like Let's Plays of it. Yeah, it's just, it looks scary as fuck. And, but yeah, now that I'm a little bit more comfortable with horror games, getting through some of the Resident Evils, some Dead Space, I'm still in no way, shape, or form comfortable, but I'm a little bit more comfortable with them. Maybe I can try out the Silent Hill games. I know at some point I want to, but I really appreciate if they can just remaster them in a good way, in a simple, nice package for me to get into. That would be lovely. All right, let's go now let's talk about some. I don't know, it's not really Nintendo, but it's on across the Wii and the Wii U and the Switch, and that is the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Always had a lot of interest in these games. They were just, when I had my Wii, this game was very hard to find, the first Xenoblade Chronicles, and very expensive, of course, because it was RPG that wasn't Nintendo, and it was awesome apparently. Or so yeah, it was going to be expensive and hard to find. I could never freaking get my hands on one. If I did see one, I didn't pull the trigger because it was like almost full price. I'm like, no, I need a deal. And yeah, just never found one for a price I was willing to pay on the Wii. And yes, they've re-released it on Wii U. They've re-released it on the Switch. I might be wrong about that, but I know it's on the Switch. They have like an enhanced version, which I've had my eyes on for a very long time. And I actually purchased Xenoblade Chronicles 3 just to kind of the way that my wife, she bought me Bayonetta 3. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta play Bayonetta 1 and 2 now. So it kind of like lit a fire under me, and I loved Bayonetta. So I'm hoping me purchasing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 helps me get into them, but it hasn't. So because Xenoblade Chronicles is a massive RPG, these games are huge, like 60, 80, 100 plus hour RPGs each. There's 3 of them in the series, and I've debated now just like, okay, they're massive. Should I just skip the 3? See if I love 3, great. And if I love it so much, I can go back and revisit them. If not, oh well, I'll just move on with the series. But I don't know if I want to track down 1 and 2. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't seen them at great prices just yet. But regardless, if you've played the Xenoblade Chronicles games, I've heard nothing but great things. Like, they're awesome, beautiful RPGs with a ton of story and character and all of that shit. And I'm like, yeah, I want to experience something like that on the Switch. That would be awesome. And to play that handheld, ooh, I want to experience that as well. It's just, you gotta be in the right mood to play a 100-hour freaking RPG, right? It's just something you gotta be ready for. I don't want to half-ass it, get in there, play 30 hours, and then drop off. Unless that's just the way it is for me. And not every game hits. I do drop off of a game every now and again, but I try not to do that. I am patient. I will wait for the mood. I will wait for price drops. Games don't age badly for me. I grew up in pre-HD era, so I have a pretty good, what we'd say, leniency for graphics and shit like that. But regardless, if you've played the Xenoblade Chronicle games, let me know. Should I start from the beginning, or is it cool just to dive into 3 and we're not going to be completely and utterly lost? All right, so Xenoblade Chronicles off the list. Let's go back to the old school. Let's talk about the song that played at the beginning for the game, Super Mario World 2. I feel like this game's a little bit forgotten, honestly. I rarely heard about this game ever. For some reason, I felt like it didn't even exist, because I would never see it out in the wild. You'd never see a copy of Super Mario World 2, and I'm like, what the heck? And I did play this game. I think, I don't remember how I played this game, but I did try it. It might have been on the Switch. I honestly cannot remember, but I played it, and yes, it was the problem of the damn baby crying, and it was annoying the fucking shit out of me. And on top of that, absolutely horrible at platforming games, like I've mentioned before. So yeah, I was bad at it. Baby's crying all the fucking time, really annoying me. And yes, I know I could turn the freaking sound down, which I will absolutely more than likely be doing when I do play it. I plan on playing it, absolutely, because it looks like a fucking awesome game. It looks so beautiful, and I want to experience that final boss fight. I've seen videos of it, and I'm like, ooh, that's ominous and freaky, like Godzilla-like. Freaking, yeah, I want to do that, man. I want to experience this game, and I finally got through Super Mario World 1, finally played through that game in its entirety for the first time in my life last year. So yes, I would like to experience the sequel and see if it's just as good again. And why don't people talk about Super Mario World 2 as often? Like, is it because of the crying baby? Like, yeah, that shit is really not fucking good. But yes, I want to play it. It's on the Switch online, so it's very easy for me to access. And playing it on the Switch just sounds great. And yeah, so I want to play that one. All right, let's go to a wrestling series that I have very, very, very interested in. And again, it's been installed on my PlayStation forever now, like probably 2 years, ever since I bought it, because it's not a very big game, gigabyte-wise, doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's not WWE, and it's not AEW, it's not even TNA Impact Wrestling, it's Fire Pro Wrestling World. So I've heard about Fire Pro Wrestling before, And this is like kind of the New Japan wrestling. You'll have those wrestlers there, like Kenny Omega, guys like that. So I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, sweet. Now, it's not even the gameplay that really got my interest in Fire Pro Wrestling World, but I heard about this GM mode, or like kind of like fantasy GM mode that they added into it, and that is what made me go, oh shit, what's going on? That looks hella fun, hella addicting, but just haven't gotten into it yet. And I got it so cheap. I got like the huge package, which included like everything for like $20. It was like $130 down to $20. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to bite into this deal. And I still have not played it. It's still sitting there. I think what kind of ruined it for me is I watched, sometimes you'll look up some gameplay, or even I like to watch those before you buys from GamerRanks. I think that's who does it. I'll watch those, and they just have like a good 8 to 10 minute video, like a little overview, give you some gameplay, let you know what you're getting into. And they said, yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to initially get into. The controls are they're way different than your typical wrestling game, and it's totally different from, it's almost like old 8-bitty wrestling games. It's completely different. You'd have to look it up for you maybe to understand what the heck I'm talking about, but looks super unique, and it's got a roster I've never played with those guys outside of creator wrestlers, so it would be really fun. I have a wrestling video game itch right now. I have 2K 20 something still installed and Fire Pro. It's just like I don't know. I really have no idea why I haven't gotten into it. I think I'm just a little bit scared of getting addicted to it and only playing Fire Pro and not playing anything else. I think that might be the issue, but I don't know. If you played Fire Pro Wrestling World, let me know. Is it better than the WWE games? I would like the 2K games. I know there's a huge argument for that. Like, a lot of people love Fire Pro Wrestling and swear by it. It's better than your WWE games and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'm very interested in it. It's installed on my PlayStation. One day I'll get there. All right, let's go to the PS2 again. And this game, I think about it every week. It's on my wish list, and it goes on sale all the time. And I'm just like, I'm going to pull the trigger on this one day, and it's not even expensive. It's Bully. I can't believe I haven't played Bully yet. It was something, oddly, my grandma put her foot down on this one because of the name Bully. She let me play Grand Theft Auto, where they're saying fuck and killing hookers and shit. She let me play that. She saw the word Bully on the cover. She's like, nope, not playing that. I was like, oh, well, whatever the fuck. I'll go play Manhunt. I didn't play Manhunt, but yeah, I've always been interested in Bully. Really, really wanted to play it, and still to this day have not played it. I got the fire reignited, and it got super intense. I listened to Remember the Game video game podcast. It's excellent. And a game that he never played was Bully, and then he played it, and he was like, that was one of the best new game experiences that a game that I've never played for the podcast. He's like, that was one of the best ones. And I'm like, oh, I really want to play it now. So it's on. I watch it on the PlayStation. It's on my wish list, and whenever it goes on sale for $11.99, and I'm like, just buy it. It's $12, dude. Just buy it. I'm like, no. I don't know. I want to play Bully. It might be coming soon, man. It might be really I'm feeling like the next time I see it go on sale, it always happens. This is how it goes down. I go, okay, I think I'm gonna go buy it, and then it's not on sale no more, and I'm like, oh well, no, that's how it goes then, and then I forget about it, and then the cycle just continues over and over again. But Bully, I'm really hoping I can get in this year. I was kind of hoping for maybe a Bully 2 announcement, and then possibly the idea of a Bully HD, a Bully remaster, something like that coming out, but it doesn't seem like Bully 2 is even in existence or a thought at this time. So I better go try out Bully before it's too late. I don't know. All right, let's go to a newer game. And this one, I downloaded it, started it, literally just started the game, got to the menu and was like, nah, uninstalled it and just moved on. And that is Lord of the Rings, Shadow of War. So this is the second game on these PS4 Lord of the Rings games, which are fucking the Middle Earth or whatever the heck. The first one blew me away. One of the best PlayStation 4 experiences that I had, especially early on, where like I had a PlayStation 4 almost at launch. My grandma surprisingly got me one out of nowhere. Thank you, Grandma. But there was nothing to play, and then I got my hands on this Lord of the Rings game. I was like, Lord of the Rings? What? They still making games? They're usually not that good. And then the reviews were really good. And then you heard about this fucking Nemesis system where like you kill these dudes and then they like plot revenge on you and they'll build like, I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, I have to experience this. And I did. And it was awesome. I loved it. It was so good. And then the second game came out, and then like I feel like I remember some like there were some problems there. There were some issues that made people mad, and then like that hurt the reviews, and that hurt like people's opinion of the game. They're like, well, outside of the transactions and everything, it's still a fantastic game. I don't know, that whole microtransaction thing I think tainted my feelings towards that game. And like, yeah, at some point I hope to play it because I enjoyed that first game so much. It was so much fun. I fucking loved it. So yeah, I've been a little bit gun shy with playing the second game. Like I said, I've installed it, uninstalled it, and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself right now. All right, let's go back to the old, and then we'll go new, and then we'll finish it off with my number one. So let's go back to the N64, and don't really blame people for not if you didn't play this one because it's kind of hard to find and shit. But Banjo-Tooie, goodness gracious. So I feel like I don't think it's on the Nintendo Online just yet, so I'm waiting for that. I want to replay Banjo-Kazooie, the first one, on the Switch because I didn't beat the final boss. I played up until the final boss, so I basically played the game. But I wouldn't mind going through it again. That would be I loved Banjo-Kazooie. It was an excellent video game. I want to play it again. And yeah, once they release Banjo-Tooie on there, I hope they will. If they don't, I do own a copy of Banjo-Tooie. I'm a very lucky man, but then I would have to hook up the N64. Oh, I know, what a big issue, right? But regardless, I have those options to me, and I have owned that Banjo-Tooie copy for fucking ever. It was I believe it was one of the holy trinity of my greatest gaming pickup of all time, where this dude sold me Banjo-Tooie, Harvest Moon 64, and Conker's Bad Fur Day for I don't remember the exact number, but it was like $60, like $20 a cartridge. Those games at the time were going, like Conker's was easily over $100, Harvest Moon was like 80 plus, and Banjo, probably they were all around $100 each. So hell of a deal. I was actually telling that story to a friend at work the other day, and I was like, bro, I didn't even I walked into this dude's house, and I may not have came out of that house. I didn't even care. I walked in, could have gotten killed in that house. It could have been a trap. I didn't even care. I went for it, and thankfully that dude was so nice, and his girlfriend was nice, and they're like, oh yeah, we're just looking for some extra cash, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is the best day of my life. I'm so happy. So Banjo-Tooie, oh my goodness, I love that. Well, I was going to say I love that game. I was like, no, I haven't played the game yet, but I love that memory. Oh, that was a day for me. Okay, let's go back to indie games. This is a big one. This is one of the big indie games. I can do a whole list of just backlog indie games. Shit you not. There are so many indie games that I want to play and haven't yet, but I feel like the top one that a lot of people like, this is one of the best games ever. This is like not only one of the best indie games, but one of the best games ever, and that is Celeste. I have not experienced Celeste yet, and I have it on Xbox, I have it on PlayStation, I don't have it on Switch yet, but I own it on many consoles, and the only thing that's scaring me off is the difficulty. That's it. That's honestly it. I don't want to get my ass kicked, even though I love Super Meat Boy. I know it's not the same game or developer or anything, but Super Meat Boy was a very, very challenging platforming game, and I loved Super Meat Boy. So I would hope that Celeste would be similar, and on top of that, apparently it's got just a heartbreaking, incredible story that I haven't experienced, and haven't had any spoilers yet. I don't know what happens up on top of that mountain, bro. So I haven't experienced that on top of a plethora of other indie games. I mean, I'll probably just write up a list. I already have part 2 of the backlog already written. Like, this was a scary thing, y'all. Maybe I don't do this. So I was writing. I've never put my backlog into writing before or put it down in a list form. And then I started doing this. I started making this list. I was like, oh, that could make an episode. And I just started slamming games onto this list faster than I've ever listed off things before. I'm like, yep, haven't played this. I'm like, oh my God, it's getting big, and I just had to stop. I'm like, okay, this is actually starting to discourage me a little bit. So I had to stop putting games on the list because it was making the backlog way too big. And I'm like, oh my God, and it just gets bigger every day. So I just stopped making the list, but I can easily make a indie games backlog list. No problemo. There are so many of them. I'll probably do that just for a backup episode, just in case. Okay, so one more game on the list. And this is my must play, and I really need to get to this one, and that is Resident Evil 1. I have not played through this game before, and again, it's a game that I think I own it on PS3, PS4, 5. It's been downloaded like so many times. Like it's just that game. It's a little bit traumatic for me because that was a game that I experienced early in my life. They put that game in there, and they put the controller in my hands just to see how long I can last. And I made it to I got through the dog crashing through the window, and I ran through that, and then I went down into the basement, and there was like a huge tarantula on the ceiling, and that was it. I was done. So I got like 8 minutes into the game, and I quit. And then I just watched my cousin, or my uncle? My cousin, I don't know. I watched someone play it, like literally sat there and played through the whole game in one sitting. I'm like, fuck. Like, I'm not even on this, like, plane with you right now. He was like 30 years older than me. So anyway, I had not ever played Resident Evil, and I really want to experience. I've never played a tank control one either. I've never played 1, 2, or 3. I've only experienced those games in the remake form. I own Resident Evil 2 on the N64 for some reason. I just do. And yeah, I really want to experience the Resident Evil remake. I don't want to play the original. I want to play the remake version, the GameCube version, whatever the fuck. That version. That's the one I want to play because it still looks beautiful. It's just that game haunts me. It still haunts me. And I know, I just know some things like the hunters. I don't want to deal with the hunters. Those things just, oh my God. Like, I don't know about it. So yeah, dude, I have still not played Resident Evil 1. That is like, before I play any other horror game, if my horror game itch happens to hit before October, where, October, Halloween, that's generally where I'm like, ooh, I want to play some scary games. That's number one. It has to be number one. I really want to play Dead Space Remake, but I have to play Resident Evil 1 before I do any of it. And I even played 2 other Resident Evil games already this year. I need to play Resident Evil 1, bro. There's just no more excuses for me. But hey, throw some excuses at me. Are any of these games on my list also on your backlog list? And why the heck haven't you played it yet? Or played these games yet? I know the answer. I know life gets in the freaking way of us playing video games. Just let us play video games. My goodness. But that is my current small portion of my backlog list. I can easily do like 8 more parts of this freaking these series alone. I can focus in on PS2 games. I can focus in on consoles. No problem. No freaking problem. So if you like these, you want me to do more, absolutely no problem. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Yeah, list videos are not hard for me to come up with. Now, in terms of the verses, that's a lot of work, and I still haven't gotten together my Crash versus Spyro versus. I'm trying to get some time to work on it, and I have to do some research. Like, I haven't played through the Spyro games in a couple of years, so I need to like refresh myself and make sure I'm doing my due diligence, doing my research, which is truly better. So I'm hopefully at some point, maybe in August, we can get that versus out and done. I don't really have anything else planned in the future for the GamerCast. At this moment, maybe I can get through Metal Gear Solid in time for next week. We'll see about that one. Regardless, throw some stuff at me. I have lists. I have so many lists of games, and I can just go through the list of games and, same thing with which game I feel like playing. I can go through the list of games that I want to talk about, and if I go, ooh, with one of them, it's like, okay, I feel like talking about this, and off I go. So I have a whole bunch of lists with games on it that eventually we'll get. There's a whole bunch of shit we can do right here. So that is what's going on with the GamerCast. This GamerCast is over, by the way. I don't know if I said I'm done, but I'm done. My list is done. That's it. That's all I'm talking about, okay? So fuck. What else we got going on with the podcasts? We got the Hockey Cast going on, still doing like my off-season debriefings for all of the NHL teams. I think we've only gotten through like 10 of them so far, so there's still a long way to go, and signings and trades and everything still going on. Minimal news during this portion of the off-season in the NHL, so I'll be making my own. We'll do lists. There's tons of shit that'll be going down for the Hockey Cast. So if the Hockey Cast that you're listening to right now has gone on break, come on over here, baby. We don't go anywhere in the summer. There's nowhere for me to go. I don't have a cottage. I don't have a fucking house on a mountaintop. I just have a regular home in a city, and I stay in this home, and I don't go anywhere. So there you go. That's what's going on with the GamerCast. In terms of the WrestleCast, should be good for a wrestling recap this week. We got SummerSlam up and coming. That's next weekend, so that's going to be huge. Going to have an extra pay-per-view review for SummerSlam, absolutely. And fuck, I don't know what else is going on in terms of wrestling. There might be other things going on. I know there's like a bunch of like these special shows that they're calling like, I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Just follow along with the WrestleCast, where I do the AEW and WWE weekly recast, recapping all their shows, all 6 of them, and review extra pay-per-views on top of that. So again, thank you everybody so much for listening to this podcast. Another successful month. You have been amazing, y'all. Like, I don't know if you're sharing it with your friends or something, but something's working out there. I've just been just smitten and blown away by just, even seeing 1 download a day, even like to see like 50 downloads in a day, I just like cream myself. I'm like, oh my goodness, like how is that even possible? But regardless, thank you everybody that's been listening, old, new. Thank you so much. But if you want to be even more awesome, keep spreading that word. You got a friend or two, let them know about the podcast. If they like wrestling, hockey, video games, they might like this podcast. They might like me, which makes me happy. I upload all of these episodes to the YouTube channel, GamerGX Videos. You can go over there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Great place. If you want me to shout you out, let me know what video games you're playing. I'll just be like, yo, fucking Tony over here is playing fucking Kingdom Hearts or something. Like, awesome, bro. You do you. Throw it out there. You got questions, throw them out there. Anything. Doesn't matter. Get involved with the podcast. Be a lot of fun to interact with y'all. I got a email address if you just want to have a private conversation. My door is open for anyone and everyone. And I also have a Twitter page. It's there. I put up announcements as best as I can. Try to let you know what I'm doing. I kind of just run the show on the fly. And that's just the way we do it here at the GX Plus Cast. And one more time, thank you so much for listening. You the best. And we'll be back with some more GX Plus Cast.